All right, everyone, welcome into H2H, the NFL pick show in which Tasos and myself battle it out each and every week. Tasos, my man, we are in week number 14, and
Yep.
it's 7-6 right now. You did take the win last week. We have gone back and forth this season. Not exactly my best week in terms of Sunday, just in my own plays or anything last week. I think I only had one of the 4 picks thrown out there that we hit, and one of which of the losers was a fade me, so I handed you a win there. But you have the edge here late in the season, 7-6. We'll explain the rules of the show to everyone in just a second, but I got to know how you feeling and how was your Thanksgiving?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, again, we kind of text about it privately. Like, I had a pretty good week. Thanksgiving slate, I did pretty well. This show I did pretty well. Oracle did well. But those damn Sunday night football games, I don't know what it is. There's like a dark cloud hanging over right now with those games. Like, that Broncos Commanders game went exactly opposite of what I thought it was going to be. Same thing for the Pats Giants game on Monday night, filling in
You
for
remember what I called you
And,
at the beginning of the year? I was like small game Tasos. He can
I don't know what
crush
it
the
is.
full slates, but when it comes to the primetime, the big lights, I don't know. I mean, you rise to the head-to-head lights at least.
Yeah, dude, the Panthers-Rams game, my Oracle video, you can go back and watch the tape. I'm telling you guys, the Panthers, this is the spot. Take the Panthers. And they ended up winning outright. And it's like, I can call that game Panthers-Rams, but I can't call Patriots-Giants or Broncos-Commanders. It's crazy. But no, we had a good week last week. Thanksgiving was pretty good. Very busy week, obviously, with college football. We're getting into the real, fun part of the season. This week's conference championship week. So, make sure, guys, check out. We're going to have 6 or 7 Clash the Titans videos, 6, 7 Clash the Titans videos coming out this week. I kind of want to stop.
Come on,
we
can't do that.
I was telling I play soccer in a men's league, and I'm like the youngest guy on the team, and they're talking about the 6-7 trend, and they're like, "Oh, it's so stupid! Like, I don't allow my kids to do it, blah blah blah." And they're looking at me, and I'm like, I mean, I kind of do it. I don't know. I'm still that young age where it's like it's still like relevant to my friend group.
You're in the corner going.
That's brutal. But I acknowledge it's one of the stupidest things, but it's addicting.
I guess so. I'm not much older than you, but I do not understand it. But you know what? I guess it's neither here nor
I have no idea where it came from. I have no idea the origin of it. I know everybody does it, and it's just like, it's catchy, Every time I'm like, all right, 6, 7.
That's like the not to get us totally sidetracked here. Again, we got to explain the show to people, but what is this? What is that like celebration in the NFL? I love it. I've been doing it, but I have no idea what it is.
That one I think is from a song.
Well, it looks sweet. I did
it. Actually, I think 6, 7's also from a song. I think all these are from like rap songs, but
all right.
Be mistaken.
Well, you learn something new every day. There's going to be some like actual gen whatever it is now being like, that's not even close to what it is, guys. like you're
that's the worst feeling. That's when you feel. That's when you know you're older, when someone has to explain like a meme or a trend to you, and it's like, oh shit.
Hey, like I wasn't even close. But yeah, Tasos, you are 7-6. What we mean by that, guys, is like I said at the beginning of the show, Tasos and I battle it out with our NFL picks each and every week. Whoever comes out on top gets a win for that week. We're in week 14 now. The unique thing about this show is that we spin a wheel that dictates our order in terms of our picks, as well as what we're actually picking, the category, anytime touchdown, spread, money line, all that. It'll make sense as we get going. But before we do, guys, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let us know down in the comments how your NFL season has gone overall. I'm curious to see our community. I love kind of reading a room and engaging the temperature of the room, Tasos, just seeing our community and everyone that watches and just a part of what we're doing here, like how they're doing on the season. So, yeah, let us know down in the comments. And Tasos, I'm ready to jump in if you are.
I'm ready. But one last thing I feel like I have to ask you, because it's only fair. We talked about it a little bit before we hopped on, but how was your Thanksgiving? Let the people know how you enjoyed your holiday.
It was great. I was out in Seattle. It was really, really good. Like I said, I maintained my tradition of football, food, and drinking. Went to the Seahawks game against the Vikes. That was an awesome, awesome experience. The stadium was great. And now we are recording real early on. I guess it's not real early anymore, but feels real early for me with the time change. I got I got in at 1 a.m. today, technically, which now it's 3 hours behind. But I'm not going to make. I wasn't even going to bring that up. I don't need the excuse, but kind of glad that I did. But I had a great Thanksgiving.
It sounds like you're putting a little buffer in case you have another bad week. So it's like, hey, I was short rest, jet lagged,
You know me too well. You know me far too well. It's like I'm not making a full blown excuse because if I do well, I want credit for it. But if
Yeah, exactly.
stub my toe this
It's a
week,
double standard because if you do well, it's like, oh, I did it well on jet lag, short rest. But if
yeah,
you do bad, it's a protection for you thing.
yeah.
I got you.
But yeah, guys, you're gonna see a wheel on your screen right here. It's gonna have a bunch of Ev slices, which is my name. It's gonna have a bunch of Tasso slices, which is this dude's name. Whoever this lands on gets to go first, and it's a snake draft from there. Tassos, you ready for me to spin it?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I want the
Let's
momentum.
see.
Is that gonna? No, I think that's gonna.
It's gonna like last week. It's gonna be a
These
tough
are
one.
crazy.
Yeah.
The wheel gods are like, hey, let's make these guys' hearts just wait it out. It's crazy. But Tassos is going first. You guys are gonna see another wheel popping up on your screen here. I would say this is the more important wheel, but I don't know. The order can sometimes be very, very important, especially when if you take someone's pick or something like that. But this wheel popping up on your screen has a few different choices. Now, Tassos, I already shuffled it, so we're good there.
Yep.
But we have a money line slice, an over slice, a drafter's choice slice, rookie prop, anytime TD, player prop, plus money, under, spread, underdog money line, and total. Whatever this lands on, guys, we have to and are subject to making a pick in that category for that round. Once we do, it's removed from the wheel. Obviously, drafter's choice. That person, whoever that lands on, so I guess it would be you in this case, Tassos, gets to pick the category. But you ready for me to spin this one? Anything you
Let's
like this week? We can go gloves off a little bit here. Is there something you're liking more than the other?
I feel like I shouldn't tell you this because I've learned my lesson. But you know
in,
what?
in
I'll
good
just
faith,
I'll
in
let
good
you
faith.
know. I'll let you know in good faith. I do have a couple of nice spread picks and a couple of
Okay.
total picks that I do like in this spot.
I'll tell you.
And
I'll
leave
give
it
you
at
a
that.
little. I think total's my weakest category here, so you might have an advantage if we get that.
All right.
I thought you were going to be like, I'll let you know what I like. Drafter's choice.
I might have a nice little total tease.
Oh, of course you
on
do.
hand.
Of
So
course you do.
just pray you don't get a total here.
All right, let's go ahead and spin it. I don't.
As always,
total.
rookie prop is the one where I'm always like, I don't have a full deck for that necessarily.
Is that gonna?
Stick to anytime touchdown. All right.
You're leading us off. I have. I feel good. I have two here, so no pressure. But no matter what you go with, I am good to go.
All right. Well, let's see.
This has been. This is. I might be wrong here. Has this been one of the categories that I've probably had a edge on this season in terms of what pops up?
I would say. So the thing is, I think you've hit more of the touchdown props than I have. But
you've hit a few bigger ones. That's a good point. I don't know.
I've hit like the Troy Franklin one that a couple weeks ago was huge.
Yep, I think that's a good point.
The question is, do I want to go super safe with this and take like one of the easy ones, or do I want to like really? I feel like I can't go for it like I did last week because I feel like it does work once in a while, but I can't afford the losses here just on a long shot. So I gotta go.
We did say last week, not that this is something that I'm doing or anything, but I believe we said it was last week or the week before that we were able to include in passing touchdowns for quarterbacks. So even though it's anytime touchdown, we did kind of open it up just a little bit to have more options. So if you have a over 1.5 or something like that, I will allow it.
All right. I like that. And I appreciate that. Again, just trying to, I have so many options here. I should have narrowed it down a little bit. I guess I'm going to go with this one because I feel like this team in general is just due for a bit of a bounce back. I'm going Michael Pittman Jr., anytime touchdown for the Colts. And it is actually decent. It's plus 213 over on Novig. So it is actually pretty good odds for the most part. Plus 210 or plus 213, like I said, for a guy who's cashed this at a 58% hit rate is pretty solid. 7 of 12 games this year, he's cashed the over. He's averaging about 0.58 touchdowns per game. You do narrow it down to the last 10. It's still pretty good. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. Obviously, these two being division rivals, they played twice last year. The first game on October 6th, he did cash the over. The second game on January 5th, he did not cash the over. But pretty good data across the board. The Jaguars overall this year, 17th in touchdowns allowed to opposing teams, giving up 2.6 per game. And versus wide receivers, they are 19th, giving up at least one touchdown per game to opposing wide receivers. In general, their pass defense honestly isn't all that impressive. If you look at Jacksonville this year, 24th in the NFL in passing yards allowed. It's the one weak spot of their defense. They have a pretty good run defense. The pass defense leaves something to be desired. But this Colts team, obviously, they lost 2 in a row. Lost to the Chiefs, lost to the Texans. They're kind of falling down. They're no longer first place in the division. The Jaguars are. So this game is massively important. And I do think, considering that their run defense, as stout as it is now, Jonathan Taylor is a different beast. He should be able to still get some work in. But considering that Jacksonville's strength is slowing down the run, I do think that in this spot, they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more than usual. And if they're throwing the ball more than usual, Michael Pittman for a touchdown is a pretty good bet. And if you go down below here to the passing numbers this year, obviously he's number one in targets, not by much over Tyler Warren, but still number one in targets. And even red zone targets. Now he is third, but it's like one fewer than Josh Downs. And he's a few behind Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren also not a bad look. But I think Pittman for 8 red zone targets, which is a 16% share, overall 22.2% target share on the year. The matchup, all these numbers to me point to this being a pretty decent spot for a anytime touchdown player prop bet.
Yeah, I really don't mind it. I will say real quick, and because now we can't get, I mean, I guess it's still viable for plus money play, but Tyler Warren was on my list. He wasn't one of the 2 that I have, but I do think that you already mentioned like the Colts and whatnot. Like they are in a rough patch right here. And Daniel Jones is hobbled and everything like that, but I don't know if you've seen the videos of him. Like he's looking pretty good for I guess what's wrong with him in his lower body. I think it's an ankle or something like that. I don't mind this spot here. I think Michael Pittman Jr. as the Colts step up, he definitely needs to step up. I mean, you even look at his red zone target share in the last few weeks, and it's like really non-existent. Just overall, right? But to me, he's still the best receiver on that team. I know you had mentioned
by far.
Josh Downs, Alex Pierce, even Tyler Warren, who's obviously an amazing rookie. Michael Pittman is that good, and I don't really know who on Jacksonville. Like this is a go off worthy game for him. Last couple of weeks was at Kansas City and Houston. You can envision him being kind of shut down there. So you know what? For the what'd you get? You got plus 213. Did you say?
Yeah, plus 213 for a number one wide receiver in an offense to score a touchdown
in a bounce back spot. In a bounce back spot, I definitely don't mind it, and I can't knock the logic because, like I said, I was looking at Tyler Warren, right? So it's like I was looking at a receiver on that team and kind of had the same thought process. So I definitely don't mind that whatsoever. I think that he is due, and we say that all the time on the show. I don't know if it's good or bad when you say that, but like you can't deny that he is due. Whether or not he's going to hit, that's still TBD. But you took another swing at plus 213 here. You were right when I said like who's been better at it. I think that I've had more hits, but you've definitely had more of these, roundhouse kick type like spots where you take it. I'm going in a direction that I think is a little bit safer, but I don't even know if I'd call it that. I just think that this is a guy that just constantly gets fed. And we talked about a bounce back team there with Indianapolis, right? I mean, Rashee Rice over 0.5 touchdowns here for plus 123. The only thing I'd give you is that they're playing Houston. Houston's really good at taking away the number 1 and all that. But I mean, not that I'm breaking any news to anyone, but if you watch a Chiefs game and how they use Rashee Rice in the red zone and anything like that, he's run the ball in the red zone this year, right? Like this is a crazy, I think he ran it once last week. This is a crazy good receiver. This is a Kansas City team that really does need to be like, let's figure something out here. They're going up against the Texans, who are obviously a phenomenal defense. If you want to make the argument that, they barely allow touchdowns to wide receivers and all that, I cannot argue that. You know what I mean? But this is a guy that in the last 3 weeks, 60% red zone target share in 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, 50%, then 67%. 6-7, right? This is Rashee Rice's team. It's no longer the Travis Kelce, in the red zone, find him. Rashee Rice is filthy, and they use him. He's not just a number one receiver. They use him like a Swiss Army knife, which is crazy. So I like this spot. I'm getting plus 123. The only counter that I could get down with you or even the comments is like, hey, the Texans are that good. And I believe the Texans are that good, but I just think that they could find Rashee Rice some way, somehow.
Yeah, no, I don't like. This is another play I actually had highlighted. I like it, and again, I don't know if I should be scared because obviously my Sunday Night Football track record lately has not been great. But I do like the Chiefs this weekend. Spoiler alert for that video. I lead in Chiefs in that game.
Everyone load up on the Texans.
Exactly.
No, listen, we talk about teams being due. You might be due. You might be doing Sunday Night Football.
Listen, it's been like 3 weeks since we've had a good Sunday night game performance. All right, it's time.
Yeah, you are due.
But I think the Chiefs are a good spot, and like I said, I don't want to say I think you could compare him a little bit to Debo Samuel a few years ago in the Niners, although he doesn't run nearly as much as Debo did. But it's the same kind of ballpark where it's like you can use him in so many different ways as a runner, as a thrower. I mean, he
Mhm.
can throw the ball in these kind of like gadget plays. He could do a lot of different things. But I agree with you. He's the top weapon now. It's not Travis Kelce. It's not Hollywood Brown. It's not Pacheco. It's him. He is the number one option. He's the number one weapon in this offense. And if you're gonna beat Houston, you need that number one weapon to be effective and to be utilized in that game. So I like it. Yes, the matchup isn't the best on paper, but overall, I think it's a good spot to go ahead and tail him. I don't really have a lot of arguments against it, other than like you said, the rankings and the data suggest it's not a great spot based off of the matchup. But
Mhm.
I talk about this in the NBA. I talk about this in the NFL. There are some players that can transcend matchups. And I do think
Yep.
Rasheed Rice is one of those guys who can transcend a matchup. He's that good of a player.
Yep. I've said all along, I think Derek Stingley is the best corner. I've said that. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
that controversial, but I think he's the best corner in the league, and he doesn't get that praise. I mean, there's a lot of other names out there. That's the one part that I'm a little afraid of, and in a sense. But Texans do play a lot of zone, like we just said. They'll get Rashee Rice, hopefully, I guess for the sake of my play, involved to some degree. But you ready to move on to round number 2 here?
Let's do it.
Efficiency this morning, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Nice, clean. No disagreements yet.
Yeah, true. That's why it's going fast. It's like, oh, it's all sunshine and rainbows right now. But all right, let's go ahead and spin it. I'm leading us off in this round.
What do you hope? Obviously, you said no totals, but what are you hoping for besides a total?
I hope it's.
Well, you're getting plus money play. So.
Okay. I have some player props that I like. Okay.
All right.
Plus money play is a very interesting one because I did have a lot of overlap with my, how I said I had a short list of touchdown scores
Yeah.
with that. I don't know if I want to dip my ink back into that pen now, or what is that? What's the saying?
That's
your
reverse, pen
right?
back in that ink. Yeah,
Okay,
you had it the other way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't dip the
dip
ink.
your ink
Okay.
back in that pen. And I mean, I guess that could. I don't know how the science of that would work, but
You're gonna hate where I'm going here, I think.
oh yeah, let's hear it.
It's not a kicker prop, don't worry, but it's gonna be something that if okay. Daniel Jones over 1.5 passing touchdowns plus 115. The reason I say you're gonna hate it is because if Michael Pittman gets one touchdown, Daniel Jones halfway there to his line. So a little gamesmanship here. But this was another. I kind of tried to steer you away from it when I said, "Oh, remember you could do passing touchdowns in that." I think that this is a good spot. I believe that's within the H to H rule book. Would you disagree?
That's I don't disagree with it. That's a good spot.
It's definitely a little gamesmanship in terms of you have a guy and I guess take the quarterback of him, but plus 115 for Daniel Jones. It's a bounce back spot. I think Jones is going to be good to go with whatever that injury is. They're saying that it's like a fractured something in his ankle. He could barely move at practice, but he should be good to go.
I mean, he looked. I mean, they didn't play well. I mean, but he still looked okay. It wasn't
could move,
like, oh my
right?
god, he
He
can't
could
move.
move.
Yeah.
And he threw for 2. So yeah, I think it's a good enough spot. And again, it's a short plus money play. I've wimped out a little bit on some of these, categories this year, but plus 115 on Novig. Daniel Jones go throw for 2. I can't see you really knocking this one because you pretty much use you use the argument in your Pittman argument there.
You basically used my own words against me, so that's great. But
in fairness, just so you know, I'm not an absolute dick. I did have this on my list and it was ready to go and everything like that. So it wasn't like, if just for the people watching, it wasn't like I heard Tasos talk about why he likes Pittman, then I was like, light bulb, I like Daniel Jones. I had this prior to. Promise.
No, I again, another one I can't really poke holes in, again, especially because I just hyped up the matchup and Daniel Jones and the passing game literally 5 minutes ago. So yeah, obviously you guys know my thoughts on this one. I like it. So you kind of backed me into a corner there. I can't really pop a bubble with my own argument.
Yeah. Feels good. Feels very good.
Yeah.
Not a single rebuttal. But take it away.
So I'm going this route here, and I was so close to taking them on the money line, but I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid completely and just buy in 100% on this run. But we've seen this before with this team. I'm going with an alternate spread here. Bengals. Now the actual spread's 5.5 points. I'm taking it up just a couple ticks, taking the Bengals at plus 3.5 against the Bills for plus 124 over on FanDuel. So I was so close to taking money line, but you know what? I think this game, regardless if the Bengals win or lose, is going to be very close. 3.5, you avoid the hook there of losing by, if they win by 3 or whatever. I think for plus 124, plus 3.5, they have extra rest. They play Thanksgiving. They get a couple extra days to rest, prep for this Bills team. And this Bills team has been super volatile all year long. Yes, they had a very dominant win over the Steelers last week, but they were coming off a bad loss to the Texans. Then they beat the Bucks. Then they lost to the Dolphins. Then they beat the Chiefs and the Panthers. They lost to the Falcons and the Patriots. Like, this team has just been up and down all year long. And it feels, especially lately over the last month or two, whenever they do something good, they immediately follow that up with something bad. And so I don't like this spot. The Bengals, obviously, they're a long shot at this point to make the playoffs in general. But if they're gonna make the playoffs, they can't really, the margin for error is astronomical. Like, you almost have to win out at this point to have a real chance. Now, I know the division, they're only 2 games back, but realistically, you can't lose many more games. Having this win could be huge because you have the tiebreaker over Buffalo. That obviously is a big factor. So I think it's a big spot. The Bengals look really good with Joe Burrow back in the fold against the Ravens. Obviously, a massive win there. From a matchup perspective, the biggest thing is the Bills' run defense stinks. The Bengals don't really have a run offense, which is the one big concern there. But the Bills' pass rush has been okay at best. I just think with Burrow back, this offense just takes on a whole new life. Now, the downside is that this Bengals defense is garbage. And although it did look good against Baltimore, this could be a really high scoring affair. But my thing is, if you have Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen, 3.5 points is enough for me, especially plus money, to go ahead and take that. So it's a bit of a risk, but I think in this spot, the Bengals fighting for their life with Burrow back, extra rest, extra prep time. I think they can hang around here at least with the Bills.
Yeah, I think in the lane of plus money play and everything like that, I don't mind this. I do think it's a ballsy play because you can almost, as much as we do this, I'm sure you do the exact same thing where when you like a play, and I'm talking whether it's your NBA daily videos, call it anything you do, right? You also envision like the other side's argument to
Absolutely.
it. There are a lot of arguments as to why this Bills
Mm-hmm.
team could go off this week, or Josh Allen has just a massive, like, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's what but like I said, I have to keep myself in the lane of, well, it's a plus money play. And Joe Burrow does give this team life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even though, I mean, what did he throw for in that Thanksgiving game? He threw for 2 touchdowns, no picks, and then I forget how many yards, but it wasn't like he looked like incredible. But the
Well,
fact
it
that
was his
he's
first game back in 2
so
months.
that's what I'm going to say. It's like the fact that he just came back and they're like, go throw the ball for almost 50, like throw 50 attempts. I think it was like 45 or something like that. That shows how, like, it's so funny because it happened with Lamar too when he was out, and then he came back and it was like people were like, oh yeah, that team's good. It's funny that they lost to the Bengals, but you know what I mean? It's like people forget that this is an MVP caliber player that just got inserted into a team that's already a really dynamic offense in terms of playmakers, right? I'm not talking about
Yeah.
the offensive line or anything, but like that's where I give the play credit that people do, because all season it's been the Bengals stink, the Bengals stink, the Bengals stink. You throw in a legit franchise quarterback, and it's like, oh, wait a second. That matters a lot, and that makes his team a lot better. And we saw it on Thanksgiving. Now, Baltimore had, was it 2 touchdowns come back? I know the
Yeah.
that's crazy, but even still, that if you give him those 2 touchdowns, you're looking at 32-28, I guess, in a sense. So it's like
Yep.
the
Still a
Bengals
win
still,
regardless.
yeah, if it works like that. So yeah, I can't really knock it. The only thing I said, and I'll stick with it, like I said at the beginning, like there are plenty of arguments to make, with this Bills team against Cincinnati's defense. First and foremost, the pressure, like you talked about Buffalo not pressuring. The Bengals certainly don't pressure, and that's been the key to Josh Allen kind of struggling this season, and Buffalo's running game against this Cincinnati rush defense. You know what I mean? Like they might just be able to give it to James Cook and say, hey, go control the game. But I like the number you got. The fact that you're getting that, field goal and a hook for plus money, I can't knock it. I'm not like in love with it, but I got to remember
Yeah.
it's in the, like, if this was a spread play, I'd be like, dude, there's so many other options, right?
Exactly.
But this is in plus
And
money.
for
So
plus
like,
money for a three, like I said, for a field goal and a hook. And
yep.
like I said, I get it. Like there's so many. I mean, I can name you 10 stats off the top of my head of where the Bills have the advantage here in this spot. But the biggest thing in my research that I saw, and I like to look at Action Network. There's a guy named Brandon Anderson and Evan Abrams, 2 guys I read a lot of their articles over there at Action Network. They do a lot of like historical analytical numbers. And the Bengals from like December on or November on in the Burrow Zach Taylor era, the cover rate, the straight up win rate is astronomical. Like this, I don't know what happens, but around the holiday season, Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, they just lock in. They just lock in, and games where they shouldn't win and they shouldn't cover, they do. There's like a magic to this team late in the season. Now maybe that's run out, But seeing what happened last week in a game where they should have lost that game, they were, I think, what are they, like 7.5 point underdogs or 6.5 point
Yeah.
underdogs in that game?
Yep.
And they not only they win outright, they win by almost 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Again, it just kind of feels like we've seen this before with the Bengals, where yeah, all the odds are against them. This defense stinks, but you give Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and that offensive line be damned. Somehow, some way, he just delivers. So and again, if it was money line, I feel even worse about it. But the 3.5 points, basically, all I'm asking for is them to just hang around in this game, which I think
Yep.
they definitely can do.
Which Joe
So for
Burrow is
plus
definitely
money,
capable of.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, I can't knock it from that side of things. I will say, you talk about like them being good in November on. It's usually because they do take off like the first 4 weeks of the season. So it's like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Or Joe Burrow's hurt and then he comes back from injury late in the year.
There's plenty of, yeah, I guess you're right. All right, you were gonna be leading us off for this last round.
Yep.
You could tell me what you like now, because this is the last round before Fade Me, right? So I mean, even if it lands on whatever you like or anything like that, like, you have first pick. So what are you looking for in this last round? I know you said you like the totals. Is that still based on your
Spread and
board so
total.
far? Yeah. Okay.
Spread and totals. I have a couple of spreads I really like, but the totals too, I'm very fond of this week.
All right, let's go ahead and spin this one. I could get behind spread. Total, like I said, I think that is my weakest category, and we're cruising past it.
To money line. All right.
Okay.
Not exactly spread area, but that's fine.
Now let me ask you this: would you have taken Bengals money line had this popped up, or no? Because that was just plus money kind of. Okay.
That's a plus money play. Yeah, no, I do think Cincinnati has a real shot to win that game, but I don't think it'd be like my number one favorite. Let's take this play.
I got you.
Going through this list though, unfortunately, a lot of the money lines are.
It's a little bit
pretty
of a
far
weird
out
week
there.
this week.
Let's see. Well, I guess I could use my spread pick here, which isn't. It's one of like the okay money lines. Yeah, I'll go with this would have been my spread pick had I gotten it. I'm going Dolphins money line here against the Jets, which I'm grabbing for minus 142 on Novik, so not bad from an odds perspective. Excuse me. The Dolphins, and it's crazy, and it's funny because I work in a pizza shop, so obviously one of my favorite things is talking sports with customers. You know, people come in, they know I do the videos now. A lot of people know I do this, so they come, they ask me my opinions, they ask me my thoughts on things, and one of the things they keep asking me is like, "Oh, the AFC playoffs, what do you think?" And I'm like, one team that's not really being talked about enough is the Dolphins. They have one of the easiest schedules to close out the year, and they're only a game back of the Baltimore and Kansas City level, and they're only 2 games back of Houston. Miami, watch out for them because they've been playing. Now, it's sloppy wins. They're not exactly, Dolphins fans are sweating every single game out, but they beat the Saints. They beat the Commanders. They beat the Bills. Then they lost to Baltimore, but they beat Atlanta. So they've won 4 of their last 5, but including 3 straight. And they're trending in the right direction. I think one of the things I talked about this on the Oracle last week when I picked them over the Saints was the ownership has already come out and said, hey, we're sticking with Mike McDaniel. He's not going anywhere. He's here to stay for next year. And I do think when you have that security as a coach, as a GM, as a group, knowing that no one's getting fired, you're coming back next year, you have the full free range to just stick with it and just figure it out. I think it kind of boosted this team a little bit. When they announced that Mike McDaniel is staying put, it just feels like this team came together. And I do think he is a good coach, which is why I get why the Dolphins ownership decided to stick with him. But they're coming together. The defense has been much better. They've now held Buffalo to 13 points. Now, granted, it's Commanders and Saints, but, Commanders to 13, Saints to 17. Defense has been playing better. The offense is still up and down, but, Tua is playing well. They have A-Chain. They've got Jalen Waddle. I think they're dynamic enough offensively. And again, this is a Jets team that they're coming off a win last week versus Atlanta, which, by the way, you kind of backed me into a corner last week, and it ended up working out in my favor with that plus money play.
Yep.
But this is a Jets team that doesn't want to win. They've already traded their best players. They want those top picks. And I'm not saying that they're going to purposely lose the game, but you have one side that has a shot at the playoffs and is motivated to win. They don't want a better draft pick. They want to win football games. And one team where I'm not saying they don't want to win necessarily as a team, but if they lose, it's not the end of the world. Like, nobody in that ownership or that coaching room or anyone's like, oh shit, we just lost. Like, the losses help them in this situation. So I just think you have the motivation factor there. And first and foremost, is like I said, if you look at the numbers, and we can spend all day talking about how bad the Jets are, but they're not a good team. 27th scoring defense, 25th scoring offense. I mean, there's not really much to like. They've gotten worse as the weeks have gone along. Now, they had a big win again last week, but, Defense way less dynamic now without Sauce Gardner and without Quinn Williams. So I just think Miami, you got a team who is fighting hard to win versus the Jets team that doesn't really care if they win or lose. I think that motivation factor and the fact that Miami is just in general the better team, I think Miami can go ahead and win this game. And I think the spread's a good pick. It's only 3 points, but I think straight up, I mean, a minus 142 is not a bad play.
Yeah, I really don't mind it. That was actually a game as I was looking into it, kind of went back and forth on because you'll notice that like the Jets do have some decent run offensive numbers. That's kind of the issue with Miami's defense in a sense, right?
Yeah,
So
the run defense isn't that
if the
good.
Jets do control the game, it'll be with their most talented player, Brees Hall, and I could kind of make the argument to get there, but as crappy as the Dolphins just are in general, like you're not wrong that they're like this is a team that clearly is playing a little bit like they're trending in the right direction to your point. Whereas the Jets, like, yeah, they won last week. Do they care to win? Does this team feel like they're rallying around their coach? And I'm not saying Miami is necessarily playing for McDaniel. Like, I don't know if I go as far as to what you said, where like reinvigorated them, because in a sense, I could also get the argument that like these players might be pissed that they're like, oh, he's coming back because we clearly aren't on the same page and all that. But I really can't make a good argument against it in a sense. You know what I mean? Like if they
Yeah.
figure out how to, and they do have playmakers on that defense. If they stop Brees Hall, then it's like okay, then what? You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the Jets are going to necessarily do. So I can't knock it. I think you're getting the better team at a very fair price, which, you know, how can you knock that? And they've won like 4 of their last 5 or 6 games. So
Yeah,
I
four
really
last
can't
five.
knock. You know what I would say though, and this is I guess the only tough thing, they are 1-4 on the road. It's definitely a team that's played better. And but guess what? 2-5, I think the Jets are at home. So pick your poison. You know what I mean? It's not like this is the Jets are like a world beating home team by any means.
Yeah, I mean the Dolphins. That's kind of been the trend with them, though. They've always kind of been
Yeah, yeah.
a up and
I
down road team.
I can't
But
necessarily knock
a
it.
couple other real quick is they've won. Obviously, they played earlier this year. The Dolphins won 27-21. That's when the Dolphins were still kind of struggling. The Jets actually looked, they were competitive in those
Yeah,
games.
that was a Thursday. That
Um,
was a primetime game.
Yep, Thursday night,
Yep,
and that was a Monday night. I think it was
Monday
a
night.
doubleheader on a Monday night. But Dolphins won that one. The Dolphins have won 2 of the last 3 going back to last year. And the Jets are 3-12 in the last 15 games straight up as an underdog. So I mean, this is a
Wow.
team that's lost a lot of games in the last couple of years. They have not fared well. And again, like I said, I do think in the NFL, especially at this time of the year, the motivation factor is something to look at because, like I said, if you have a team like the Jets who just kind of packed it up for the season, and you have the Dolphins who, they continue this little run here, they could, it's as crazy as to say, make the playoffs and sneak in as a wild card team potentially. I mean, it's a long
Yeah,
shot, but
I think it is
they still
crazy to
have
say,
that.
but it's not impossible, right? That's a good way of
Yeah,
putting it too. Like if they
but their
did, I
schedule's their
would be
schedule's weak.
amazed. Yeah,
Yeah, their
good point.
schedule's weak though,
Yep.
so that'll be the difference. But yeah, I just think fading the Jets this time of the year is probably the right move in general. Especially because they won last week. I don't really see the Jets going on a winning streak here, but you know what? I could be wrong. And that's the nature of what we deal with here. But Miami is one of those spots where from the minute the slate was released this week, I like Miami a lot this week. So calling my
Yeah,
shot on that one.
I can't knock it. I'm going in a direction now. I am taking a chance because injuries could drastically impact this game. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind the Commanders plus 115 over the
Ooh,
Vikings here. Now, they're healthy offensively, fairly healthy, with the exception of Jaden Daniels, who's missed some time, right?
it's a
But
big exception.
Well, he's questionable, and he says he wants to play. So
Mm,
that's good. And then JJ McCarthy on the other side is questionable, as is Aaron Jones. I mean, I was in person watching that Vikings team last week. If Max Brosmer is the quarterback again, I'm very scared for that Viking squad just in general. JJ
yeah,
McCarthy, I think he's probably okay because it wasn't like a concussion, I guess, is an injury, but like going through the
yeah.
protocol of concussions different than being like, oh, where's the broken fibula at? You know what I mean? So
Breaking news: Ev doesn't think concussions matter.
I've had so many concussions in my life playing football, so yeah, I'm like a concussion truther. But I don't even know if this Vikings offense is going to be good with JJ McCarthy. Now, plus 115 is what I'm getting here. It realistically is like I don't mind. And also, by the way, you know how the Commanders have lost like a million games in a row. If we look at
Yeah,
their schedule from October on, it is Chargers, Bears, Cowboys, Chiefs, Seahawks, Lions, Miami. You can't knock that one, and then Denver. Like they've played a
no, true.
ridiculous schedule. So yeah, there is something in there that I'm like, okay, well, this team's a little bit better than you may think. Now, I will give Minnesota credit at the same time, since the beginning of November, Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago, Green Bay, and Seattle, so they've played a tough schedule too. But
I
I'm
was just
just
gonna say that, like if you go through their schedule and you go
both these,
back to October, Eagles, Chargers, Lions,
yeah,
Ravens, Bears,
so
Packers,
bad.
Seahawks. It's a
Yeah,
pretty
it's
rough
tough.
stretch for both these
Yeah.
teams.
So again, I'm getting the plus money side, and if Jaden Daniels doesn't play, then it's a little bit risky. But he keeps saying he wants to play in Week 14. He even wanted to play last week, I think, or their last game, or maybe I think it was because he got hurt in Week 10 or something like that. But either way, I think that this is kind of rolling the dice. I get it, but I don't think the Vikings offense, even with JJ McCarthy, is all that viable. They have one of, if not the best receiver in terms of talent in the entire league, and he had like 3 targets last week. Now, again, that's Max Brosmer. That dude stinks, but I just can't see. I can't see this Minnesota team really turning it around, because at least Washington, if you look at some of these games, Tassos, like they lost last week against Denver, right? We talked about that game, or
Unfortunately, yeah.
they put up 26 points against a really
Yeah.
good defense. Now, we're talking overtime. They scored in overtime, right? So
Yeah,
it's like
they did.
they put up 20 points, but still, like, that might be enough to beat this Vikings team in general. And that was a Washington team with Marcus Mariota. Like, this offense, I think, is better than the Vikings. That's what it's going to come down to me. Plus 115.
Yeah, no,
too.
I get the spot. Like my my thing in this game was more like why I kind of grimaced when you first said it. Was like I would just avoid this game altogether. Like I think this game is going to be a bit of a crapshoot because the thing is, this Vikings defense is still solid. I mean, the numbers don't look as good. I talked about this in my Oracle video. The numbers look worse for them defensively because they're on the field so much more than last year. Like, the offense is kind of hanging them out to dry a bit. But this Commanders offensive line has been okay at best. 20th in sacks allowed, tied for 16th in QB hurries. Jaden Daniels, your first game back from an elbow injury. The pressure from that Vikings blitz, they blitz at the heaviest rate in the NFL. I don't know. That could be a rough spot. I mean, the Commanders could struggle here, but I agree. Like, the thing is, whether JJ McCarthy, and this is just a quick little side note. Last week in the Oracle, this H2H, I saw a funny comment. Someone was like, "Oh, it's clear Tasso doesn't do his research," because I had talked about JJ McCarthy playing, and obviously he has already been ruled out. There's Max Brosmer. Someone's like, "Oh, he doesn't watch the games. He doesn't know ball," and it's like I literally respond. I'm like, whether it's Max Brosmer, Carson Wentz, or JJ McCarthy, you can pick any of the Vikings 3 quarterbacks. I think either one of them are going to suck versus the Seahawks. I think that the point remains, like, whether it's McCarthy or Brosmer, I don't like either Vikings quarterback this year. So I get the thought process. I don't hate it. I just personally, I wouldn't fade it necessarily, but I wouldn't tail it, if that makes sense. Like, it's not a play I would like shout for the mountaintops. I'm riding with you here, but I also wouldn't take the Vikings confidently in the spot either. So
Yeah, especially for the minus money, right?
yeah, and I think honestly, Mariota, even if it is Mariota, like, this Viking, like you said, the Vikings offense, what exactly can they do here against this Commanders team?
I was impressed. I was impressed that in primetime, a game in which, I mean, that Denver should have smoked them in a sense. You know what I mean? The fact that even goes to overtime, and that was a pretty consistent, like Washington stunk in the first quarter, and then from there on out they scored in every,
they hung around.
Yeah, like it really was. So I mean, I was a little bit impressed there. And if Jaden Daniels, now I don't know if he's as good as we thought he was, say, last year, or maybe just the team, right? I want to blanket statement him, but he could also be in the camp of like, oh yeah, like once he's healthy and Terry McLaurin's now back and everyone's healthy, it's like, oh yeah, Jaden Daniels is good. You know what I mean? Like we forget about these quarterbacks that are injured. Jaden Daniels. I feel like I've said that in videos and stuff before. It kind of sounds cool.
Yeah, not a bad flip on the name. Yeah, no, I think Jaden Daniels, like, a lot of people have been comparing him a bit to CJ Stroud. I think it's very different. I think that Jaden Daniels, like, he's been hurt. He has had 2 separate injury stints this year where he's been out. And then on top of that, like, McLaurin, he's barely had McLaurin this year, and
Debo's missed some
Samuel's
games.
hurt for a while. Like, yeah, it's been. And then I think also last year, like, they had a last place schedule. They had, all the injury luck in the world went their way. I know Daniels got hurt for a little bit last year, but they had a bunch of 1-score wins. It's very similar to the Chiefs thing, where, like, this year the 1-score win luck has kind of flipped on them. So I think they're still going to be good next year, and they're going to have a top 10 pick in this year's draft too, which helps.
All right, Tassos, we move into the fade me round.
Fade me. I want you to have it. I want to say that right now. I want you to have it.
That means you're not confident in what you have left.
No. I'm confident in the fact that you've now lost 3 straight fade me picks.
You've lost a few in a row as well. I don't think this has been the best fade me round. This has been a fadeable fade me round this season.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
but yours have been like the kicker prop was one where I'm like, oh no, Ev lost his fastball.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Like I was throwing 102 last year, and I came in throwing 89, and it's like, oh boy, this guy. That's all he has is his fastball. But guys, the fade me round is very simple. You'll see a wheel on your screen. Looks just like the first wheel you saw. Bunch of Ev slices, bunch of Tasso slices. Whoever this lands on gets to make a pick anywhere on the board. It does not have to be in a specific category, anything like that. As long as there's a yes and a no side essentially to it, or an over and under, the other person has to fade whatever the pick is. Whoever this lands on again gets to make that pick. So Tasos, I'm going to spin it. You say you want me to get it. Let's see.
I mean, I don't mind if I have it, but obviously, I'm interested to see where you go with it.
I think I'm going to get it.
You're gonna get it. Yep.
All right, you definitely called that one.
Let's see what you got.
I've already had some gamesmanship in this show, and it might be a spot in which I look at that sort of lane again. Or do I go to a kicker prop?
You're going to the Colts game again?
No. I'm saying I go to like playing some gamesmanship again.
Mm-hmm.
This is a okay. I want to pull the trigger on some. I'm not confident because the play that I want is an alternate line. Not it's not like a crazy one. It's making it easier for myself. But it's I think I should do it. All right, Tasos. I think I'm gonna pull, which we have not pulled out in a while. I think I'm going heavy favorite, but I'm going heavy favorite here. Denver -2.5 against the Raiders. Now, I hate that this is a divisional game and stuff like that, but I'm getting them at -325. Which, guys, by the way, before you jump down my throat, like part of the fade me round is true. Part of the fade me round here is like my strategy right now is trying to secure Tasos a loss. Again, called it out, hand up gamesmanship. I get them at -325, -2.5. You get them +2.5 at +255. So this could be a tough one for me, but this is a Raiders team that isn't good. I mean, I will give them a little bit of credit that, they're 3-3 with this 2.5 line if you apply it to them on the season, but that was against Tennessee, Jacksonville. I can't remember the other one that they played. But it looks like any team that has like a pulse, like the Chargers, that was early in the year, but Browns even beat them by 14. Dallas obviously smoked them. This is a really good Denver defense. I think Denver got a little too close for comfort in that game we just talked about, right, with Washington, and they might have taken that game a little for granted, slept walk into it, even though they did, go up like 13 to whatever it was in the first half. But to me, it's the Denver defense, right? I don't know how you can truly argue the Denver defense. And the Raiders defense isn't like anything to write home about, but this realistically is Denver defense versus Raiders offense. And I just don't really see an easy track to much success there, whether it's Geno Smith, whether it's Justin Gente or anything like that, So one of the best defenses against one of the worst offenses. I'm not trying to say that Denver's offense is going to go off because I think Las Vegas' defense is somewhat serviceable, but it's realistically defense versus offense on the Denver side for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take my loss and I'll move on with it. Like, this is a good play. Obviously the key obviously is that you only get -325, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But
I'm just trying to secure a loss for you. Yeah. Now I was almost considering them the -7.5 or the -6.5, but I feel like I might have been getting too cute there. Like you're not too cute, but trying to.
It's tough because these teams played not too long ago, a few weeks ago, and it was one of the worst games I've ever watched in my life. It was 10-7 Broncos. But like in that game, and I think the Broncos in that spot were like 8.5-point favorites. And look, the Raiders defense stunned them, and Geno Smith gets hurt, but that game was down to the wire.
Yep.
But I think that gives an extra motivation factor for Denver here. They obviously played them already once. I don't think the Raiders are going to improve. I think only the Broncos can really improve in this spot. They won by 3 last time, so a 3-point win is definitely going to be achievable. I think they could just cover the straight up spread in general, but I understand playing it safer, handing me the loss. But yeah, this Raiders team, you can't give me any arguments like for them. Like they stink.
Right. And again, I'm not a big like Bo Nix and that offense side, but like if you put up 7 points again, I have to imagine Denver puts up at least 10. And the biggest thing here too is I'll be transparent. I don't think I make this type of play at a -325 in the fade me round if I'm up 7-6 in the week. So that's where the whole season kind of comes together here. I'm trying to be a little safer in a sense after just taking Washington money line. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be ebbs and flows and it's show dependent. So anyone out there, again, calling out the haters that are down my throat, it's like, dude, I'm not sitting here being like there's value in a -325 play. but there's value in Tassos taking a loss for the fade me round. Knock on wood, hopefully. This could be big talk, like when you took the who did you take last year? It was late in the year, and you took a huge favorite in the fade me round, and
It
then
would
it's
it
only
would
been
be
one
that would
time
that
that.
would be that would be the Detroit Lions. They
Oh,
I think was it the Lions or there was some
oh
team. I
yeah,
think it
yeah,
was the NFC
Lions
North team.
and the Commanders beat them.
Playoffs. That was the playoff game. The Lions were big time favorites in that playoff game. I think they were like 6.5 points. I took them straight
Ooh,
up money line, which was like minus 300 something or
yeah.
400 something. And yeah, the Commanders ended up smoking them in the playoffs. So they can come
Serendipitous
back
that
to
I just
bite
took the
you.
Commanders.
I
It
don't
definitely
think
can't go
that
back.
it'll. I don't think it'll
Hey,
come back to
yeah,
bite
here we
you.
go.
I think
God,
you're
Toss is
fine.
gonna go. God forbid. Uh,
No, this is not even a God forbid. Like the Raiders, if they win this game, God forbid they win this game. I mean, they shouldn't. If they win this game, then the Broncos are completely invalid for them. I will never look at
yeah.
them the same the rest of the
Okay.
year. Like
Okay.
this Raiders team is I think I genuinely think, and I know I have some buddies who are Raiders fans. I think the Raiders are in a worse spot than the Titans. Like I know the Titans are technically the worst team in the league, but like at least for them, like all right, they have no offensive line, they have no wide receivers, like it's a rookie quarterback, like all these things. At least they have a direction. They're gonna have the top pick. The Raiders are the worst situation in the NFL because they've got a highly paid quarterback. They've got no offensive line. The defense is mid at best. They have no receivers. It's a nightmare. So
Yeah.
I think the Raiders are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, dumpster fire in the league. Like even the Browns have Myles Garrett or something. I know the Raiders have Max Crosby, but
Yeah. Fair enough.
yeah, good play.
Yeah. All right. That's gonna. How do you feel about your board in week number 14 here?
I like it a lot. Obviously, the fade me pick. I was hoping you were going to be something with a little more value my way, but
I couldn't do
and
it. Like I said,
and like you said, to all the people in the comments, it's so funny because when you make those plays, and then someone in the comments will be like, "Oh, you're screwing Tasso over." It's like, no, not really. That's just how this game goes. It's how the show works.
yeah,
It's strategy.
it's part of the thing that makes it unique because again, you have to remember that it's all units based. So even
Yep.
if I win, yes, Tassos gets the minus the unit, but it's almost like being like, all right, you're squared up now. If Tassos goes 2-1 on his other plays and I don't, then it's not that big of a loss because I'm only minus 325. I'm not taking a that big of a win there. If this was just a straight up record, like 3-1 would win or 2-2 versus 1-3, that type of thing, then yeah, we'd probably have to change that rule because you can't
Yeah.
take a minus 300 and be like, oh, well, there's a win for the round. It's all unit space. So I'm doing myself a disservice in a sense. And it is part of the thing. Like, I think we stand by the gamesmanship of the wheel decided who gets to make
Yeah.
that pick too. It's not like I'm coming in here just throwing out minus 325. It's like I wouldn't even have that opportunity had a randomized wheel not given it to me. So it's all just part of the fun of the show. And again, guys, it is a fun show and we have fun with this. So if we're not bothered by it, maybe you guys, shouldn't be too bothered by it. Just saying. But Tassos, I think it's gonna wrap it up for this week. A big week for
Yep.
me, I guess for you as well, but you do have a little bit of a safety net. You know what I mean? Having that 1 game lead this late in the year or 1 week lead this late in the year is massive. This is a big one because we've only had one other time that, someone stretched their lead to 2, and
Yep.
it was you a few weeks back, and I
Yep.
won 2
Few
in a
weeks
row.
back.
We're running out of weeks. I know we'll carry this through the playoffs and whatnot, but we're running out of weeks in general to make up leads. It's not like, oh, we got the
Yeah.
whole season ahead of us. We have the end of the season and the playoffs ahead of us. Things are shrinking right now. So
After this week, we have 4 weeks left in the regular season, and then you've got 4 weeks left. So we have 8 weeks left of the
yep,
show after this week. So yeah, it sounds like a lot, but like you said, if you get a 2 game lead, if you're not, it makes it a lot more stressful down the stretch here because you, like I said, less time to go ahead and pull it back. So yeah,
yep,
obviously a win for me would be really nice, but the way this year's been
it's
going,
big.
it's anyone's game. Yep.
Yeah, we shall see. But we really do appreciate everyone tuning in to this week of H to H. Make sure to check out all of the content that's coming out on the channel. Tasos and myself personally are firing out content. I know Tasos had a massive week in terms of uploads last week, but we have a ton of stuff going on. We have quotes with the clips, and Trey is knee deep in college basketball and his own NFL play. So tons of stuff here on the channel, and really do appreciate you guys tuning in. Catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.